Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So again, I'm Bobby Cortez. I'm with the BSW program here at the University of Louisville, specifically the Raymond A. Kent School of Social Work and Family Science. So I handle all of our admissions paperwork and all of our recruitment efforts just to bring more students into the BSW program and really just to get more social workers out into the world. Um, We'll go ahead and start. So first slide, really what is social work? Social work is a lot of things, but essentially it is the professional practice that promotes and restores relationships between the people, their environment in order to improve the quality of life for individuals, families, communities, and organizations. Additionally, it is working to enhance um, the environment in which we live in so that people can live their best sort of lives. So a lot of that would be more policy work, but essentially it's enhancing, restoring the ability of individuals, groups, families, and communities to be the best versions of themselves, essentially. So, a few questions we like to ask prospective students or those interested in social work or those just a little curious about what social work is. Um, are these three questions? And if you all answer yes to these three questions, I think you are in the right spot. So, the first one, are you good at maneuvering through complex situations? As a social worker practicing in the field, you're going to have a lot of different clients. You're going to have a lot of different things that you're handling at one point in time. So you're going to need to be able to maneuver through a lot of different situations that could be complex, require some critical thinking skills. You'll have a caseload of clients, but you may have some that may be in more crisis or need more attention at that given time. So you're going to need to maneuver those complex situations. Two, do you have a passion for helping vulnerable and marginalized individuals, families, and communities? More often than not, the individuals that we are working with are those who have been marginalized, those families, those communities that are have fallen to some of the systems or just really need some assistance in one way, shape, or form. Um, Somebody doesn't really need a social worker if life is sort of going really great and it's kind of sunshine and rainbows, we like to say. Um, Third one, do you have a passion for advocacy and promoting social justice? These are some of the pillars of social work. So a lot of our work is going to be advocating on behalf of our clients, fighting all forms of discrimination, promoting social justice, equality, and diversity within our field and for our work. So if you answered yes to all of these questions, we definitely do think that you are in the correct spot, the correct field, and in a position to be able to really create an impact within the world that we live in. So this next slide, career opportunities. This is a slide merely with some potential job opportunities for those with degrees in social work. This is by no means an exhaustive list, um, but really social workers are in all shapes and forms of the job force. So social workers are really working in a lot of nonprofit work. Social workers are working with Veterans Affairs. They're working in the school system, working in the criminal justice system, working in healthcare. Really, if you think of any potential career path, a lot of times social workers are there. Even in some of the larger Fortune 500 companies as well, with a lot of the mental health work and some of the EAP programs that a lot of these larger companies are offering to their employees, they're finally seeing the benefit of having a happy and a healthy mind and soul working for them. So they find that obviously if their employees are happy and healthy mentally, they then turn that work in maybe a little bit faster, a little bit better. And in turn, that company does do better. So it's sort of they invest in their employees, and then those employees kind of pay back that work with the positive work that they do in any way, shape, or form, whatever form that they're doing that in. And that I think that's come with a lot more of a changing mindset around mental health and the impact that mental health has on all aspects of our work, not only our personal lives, but also in our professional lives as well. So this is our BSW team. We are a team of 5 individuals. We are a small but mighty team on the campus and here within the Kent School of Social Work and Family Science. From the right to the left, that is one of our academic counselors, Gary Uracy. That is me right next to him. Our manager of student success, Anna O'Connell. Our associate director, Sarah Springer. And our director of the BSW program, Dr. Armand Perry. So a few highlights of our program. In full, our program is 120 credit hours from start to finish. Students must maintain a 2.5 GPA within their time within the Kent School to remain in good standing. We offer programs fully online or on campus, or they can be a hybrid of those two as well. In addition, we offer full and part-time routes for individuals who may have families, individuals who may be working full-time, who need to kind of maybe go a different route and just make their own path, which is totally fine. Additionally, our program is split up into two divisions, one being the lower division, which is your first roughly 60 credit hours, and the upper division, which is more of the professional phase of our program, which is an additional 60 credit hours. And I'll get into the specifics of both of those in just a moment. So the lower division, essentially the lower division is going to be a combination of general education requirements and some required prerequisite courses that we ask our students to complete, along with some electives. I do not want to go ahead and read all of these to you because I know that everybody can read. These are the general education requirements. Essentially, those will equate to what an associate's degree would be. And these general education requirements are across the board for everybody at U of L. If they're starting as a freshman, if they are a transfer student coming in with associates, those things would be completely covered for the most part. However, I would like to just mention that these education requirements, there are a couple that are a little bit tricky. So specifically with the arts and humanities and the natural science courses that you see there, those two courses need to be in different disciplines. So for the natural sciences, one may be a biology course, one may be a chemistry course. Arts and humanities the same way. It could be a theater course, it could be a Pan-African Studies course. They just need to be in two different disciplines to be able to satisfy that requirement. So along with these courses right here, in our social and behavioral science courses and our perspective courses, that'll equate to about 31 credit hours. In addition to that, we have an additional 29 that will make up that first 60 credit hours. Those are going to be our BSW 201 Intro to Social Work, a Human Anatomy course or its equivalent, a Statistics course or its equivalent, and Intro to Psychology and Intro to Sociology. Additionally, we have students have 13 credit hours of general electives. These can be really whatever you would like them to be. We have time written into our upper division where students can take social work electives. However, if they would like to take some of those during their first couple of years, that is more than welcome to them. Also, college is really a time to explore interests, to kind of get a little creative, see what you like, see maybe what you don't like. So we encourage students to kind of take a wide array of different types of courses when this opportunity is presented to them. You learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about your interests, and if you find something that you're really not interested in my opinion, that's still a success because you learned something that you maybe thought you were interested in, but turns out not so much. So lower division, essentially the general education requirements, our cardinal core is what we call here, and a few of our supporting prereqs along with general electives. So for our upper division program, that is going to be typically the junior and senior year of your undergrad. This is what we call more of our professional phase of the social work program. Here we're going to have courses mainly all social work content. So we have a few opportunities for students during those second years to take a couple general electives that they would like to take. For the most part, it's all going to be core social work content on these different topics. So practice courses, courses on human behavior in the social environment, social welfare policy courses. You will take a research course, diversity, depression, and social justice, along with our practicum seminar and lab, and a number of required social work electives. I will say we have a exhaustive list of social work electives. So if somebody is thinking of going into a specialization, maybe they want to go into child welfare, maybe they want to work in forensic social work, maybe they want to work in oncology social work. We have a number of electives where students can kind of get their toes wet and kind of do introductory courses into what these subject matters will kind of look like. So if you notice back here, the practicum, seminar, and lab. So this is what this slide is going to be referring to. Essentially, the practicum is what we in the social work world call an internship. So students in their senior year will complete a year-long internship or practicum where they will essentially take the skills, knowledge, and tools that they've learned in the classroom and apply those to the real world setting under the direct supervision of practice social workers at an agency, organization, or nonprofit that really aligns with your career goals. So essentially, your junior year, you will work with our practicum education team to identify those areas of interest. This team has connections with all sorts of organizations and nonprofits around the state, around the city, around the nation as well. So if you are an online student, this is something that we are completely used to. We have connections in your areas to be able to do that. Additionally, if there is an organization that you would like to do your practicum with, you can reach out to our practicum education team. And what they will do is they'll just have to do a vet of that organization to make sure that they are able to provide the necessary means for supervision and to have you be able to work and provide that educational experience from the actual work being done at that agency or that organization. So essentially, it's like we can teach you to ride a bike, but until you actually get out there and hop on that puppy, you don't really kind of know what it's like. So it's an educational experience. The thing that we want to point out to people as well is it's 16 hours per week. And a lot of our organizations work on a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 sort of timeline. So this is going to be during traditional business hours. There are some organizations that will have different hours. So from my experience, when I went through the practicum, I was working at a school system and we did after school programming for youth and their families. So there were some nights where we were there until 6:30, 7, even 8 o'clock sometimes. So that allowed for my particular timeline because I was working UPS doing the night shift. So I had to get a little sleep in the morning time and then work a little bit later, which I always encourage students if they have responsibilities, be it family, other work obligations, be some of the first people to reach out to your practicum coordinators so that you can then discuss the scheduled needs when you actually get to that point to work at your agency. And I see that, Beatrice, you have a question hand up. You're welcome to unmute yourself and ask that right now if you'd like.
Yes, good morning. So, right now I am overseas. I'm a military spouse, so I
Mhm.
was wondering how available it is overseas for the practicum.
So I will say it's a little less common for sure. However, they have placed practicum students internationally.
Okay.
However, they just need to be able to build that connection with that agency so that they can identify and just to make sure that this agency is going to be able to give you all of the things educationally and experientially, and being able to provide supervision for you that is required. So what I would state is and I know we've been emailing a little bit back and forth, but what I will do, I'll make a note to be able to connect you with our practicum education office. Because like I said, I don't think it's ever too early to kind of get that conversation started
Right.
so we can kind of get things figured out for when that time does come. We can make sure we have a placement set up for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And then Beatrice, okay, there we go. That's his hand went down. Just want to make sure if you had another one I saw. So we'll go ahead and move to the next. So our lower division application, so I will kind of touch on these things a little bit. So for high school students, there's automatic admissions with ACT, SAT scores. That ACT not less than 20, SAT not less than 1030. However, high school students coming in without those scores, we do require, and you'll see this number quite a bit, is a 2.5 GPA or higher. Additionally, our academic and admissions team will be able to do a comprehensive review of the high school transcript and just really look at grades and courses that those students had took throughout that time. Excuse me. For transfer students, which is a lot of what we get in the Kent School, with 24 hours or more, there must have a college grade point average of 2.5 or higher. Additionally, those students with 24 hours or more are exempt from that sort of social work 101, which is essentially a first year experience course where students just kind of learn how to college. Right? That's basically it. Something to let everybody know too. So students who declare social work as their intended major, they will automatically be placed into the lower division. However, we do have a separate application process that I'll speak about here in a moment that moves students from that lower division to the upper division. And we just want to note that just because you are in the lower division does not mean that you are automatically admitted into the upper division, or in other words, you're not admitted into the professional phase of the program. So the upper division application is something that's open right now for our spring start. And I will say we are not as competitive as, say, maybe the Speed School of Engineering or the College of Nursing. I will say for the most part, most of our students, if they meet our requirements, they write an effective, honest, critically thinking statement of purpose without the use of AI, which we've seen a lot of, unfortunately. For the most part, our students are going to get in. However, I just want to let that be known. The requirements to be able to apply is you must have a cumulative GPA of 2.5 or higher, a completion of at least 45 credit hours. And within our application, it will simply ask you a lot of general information, your basic demographic stuff, those things. You will have a volunteer and work history. However, the main component of the statement of purpose of the BSW upper division essay is the statement of purpose. And this is a short essay that is 1,000 to 1,200 words where students will choose one of two questions within that application to answer. And really, it's just for our faculty to gain an understanding of your areas of interest, what you're interested in, gain a little bit about your writing style, how your passion is for a certain area in social work. And then they score that, and then they will send that off to myself. I'll send it off to more faculty to review, and then ultimately to our program director, Dr. Armand Perry, who makes that final call. So if you see this spring start right here, this is something that is actually just now starting for the very first time right now. So our application right now is nearing the final deadline for those that would like to start in the spring semester. It used to be we only had a fall start. So if students were not exactly ready or they needed a course to kind of raise that GPA up or take another course to meet that 45 credit hours, they would then have to wait sort of an entire year. And we noticed that was not as effective and not really giving a lot of options for our students. So over the past couple of years, we've been working to kind of get this created with professors, with rooms, working through our application process. And we're super happy that we're finally going to have our first spring cohort in spring of 26. Now, this final deadline, I will say there should be an asterisk next to it because students are finishing courses and are going to be transferring at different times or starting at different times. If you are a transfer student, if you are somebody who thinks that you may need to, would like to be able to start in the spring, you meet those requirements, but you may need a little time past November the 1st, send me an email. We will do our absolute best to be able to work with you to get that in. We want to just work with people. We understand life is hectic. There's a lot of things going on in our world right now that need our attention. So we are more than willing to work with you. Little asterisk down there, if you're attending another institution, you must be accepted to the University of Louisville before applying to the social work upper division. That is because we send our application out to U of L emails just to really keep everybody's academic and personal information safe. So if you kind of reach out to us to ask for the application, we cannot send that out to anybody's personal information. So you must be accepted before you can have a U of L email and username. Additionally, after that, sorry, those are my dogs barking. But once you are accepted and you ask for that application will then be able to send it to you. So within our BSW program, we do offer an alcohol and drug counseling track for those that are interested in that specific field. You guessed it, and you must have an overall cumulative GPA of 2.5 or higher. And for this, within the upper division application, if this is a track you're interested in, we just ask that you write your statement of purpose around your interest, your experience in this field, or your potential contributions after you do graduate. And we'll just use that for the kind of statement of purpose. Additionally, you are required to have a few electives that you will take to be in this track. Those include substance use and substance use disorders, some special issues in alcohol and drug counseling, motivation and change, and mental health. So this is the KYCW Prep program. So this specifically is a program for students in partnership with DCBS in the state of Kentucky in the cabinet for those that are interested in going into the child welfare system. For those that are interested in that, I would 100% say contact Emily. There's a lot of great things with this program. Specifically, I'll give you just a few. So with this program, you will get a $1,300 stipend per semester. So 2 semesters each year. So you'll get let me math, 2,600 bucks per year as a stipend. So you could use that for books, for housing, for food, pocket it, whatever you need to do. That's your money. Additionally, they pay for your last 2 years of tuition. This must be in state or those last 4 semesters. So essentially, the entire upper division would be paid by the cabinet. Additionally, you'll be required to do your practicum education through your senior year with DCBS. However, that is paid. I believe that number is $16 an hour, but don't quote me on that. However, I think that is exactly what it is. The obligation that you hold with this, with getting the stipend, with the internship, and with your last 2 years being paid for, they kind of scratch your back for 2 years. And then in turn, you will pay back that by contractually being obligated to work with the cabinet for 2 years post graduation. Now, I will say, if you're planning on going into the child welfare program, into that sector of work, why not save some money, make some money, get a paid internship, and have guaranteed job placement following graduation? To me, for those students that are interested in that, it's really a no-brainer. And it allows you to really build those connections within that field while you're still attaining your education. A lot of times our students are coming out of college making great money with the state, and then are able to kind of excel into supervisory roles a little bit quicker than those that had not been in that program. So Emily Watts here is the coordinator and faculty here at Kent School. So I'll just leave this here for just a little bit. She is really the guru with all of things child welfare and CW prep. So if anybody wants to kind of take a snapshot or write down her email, phone number, they would definitely be the ones to answer any questions specifically for this program. Additionally, you can just Google child welfare prep. It'll come up as well. So it's a program that's very well known, been around for quite a while. So you can do your own research or reach out to Emily, or you can send me an email and I can send you a connecting email to Emily. Either way works for us. So our advanced standing MSSW program. So this is one of the key benefits, I would say, for those who attain a BSW degree. Essentially what this is allows students with a BSW degree to do an advanced master's program, which takes the traditional MSSW program of 60 credit hours and it cuts it in half. So from 60 to 30, half the time, half the money. Sounds pretty fantastic. And the keynote to this is something that only a BSW student can attain. If a student has a degree in criminal justice, psychology, anything else in the academic world, they must do the traditional 60 credit hour program. And the reason for that is during your internship, your practicum, you have supervision hours with a social worker who's been working in the field for a while. Those supervision hours are tracked and they sort of quote unquote go into a bank of hours that you've accumulated. And you will do another internship throughout your MSSW career, and you will do another one. So you only need the other half of those hours. So a lot of that, the BSW program is going to lay so much of the foundational work that you're going to be discussing in the MSSW program. But since you have that foundation, you have those supervision hours, you're then able to do the advanced standing master's program. So for that, students need a preferred 3.0 cumulative GPA, a preferred 3.25 GPA in our social work foundational courses. So those are those core social work content classes. And then also there's more to come once you get into the BSW program. We collaborate with the master's program quite extensively. So if there's any questions or things like that, we can definitely connect you all with those that will be able to answer any of the questions that you might have regarding the MSSW program. Now, if the advanced standing program wasn't good enough, we have a soaring scholar program as well. So essentially what this program does is if students are, sort of high achieving, they have 3.75 social work GPA after their first semester, an accumulative GPA of 3.5, including their prior courses, especially at any other institution. What this program allows is for those high achieving students to be able to take up to 9 credit hours their senior year. And what we'll do is essentially the sections in your flight plan that are coded for electives, students will be able to take graduate courses during their senior year of their BSW program. And the kicker for this also is those courses will be at the bachelor's price level as well. So you could get up to 9 credits for your master's program at the bachelor's level while you're still earning your BSW. So this is just another way that we have an opportunity for students to be able to kind of fast track their degree path. And once they're in, get them out, get them working and doing the things that we need to change the world. So what can you do now? We always say establish good relationships with your professors. This is something I really can't stress enough. You never know when you might see somebody in a career fair. You might need a letter of recommendation. They may be somebody that's working for you. They may be something, you may be working for them, excuse me. It was many, many years ago that I was in Dr. Armand Perry's BSW 201 course in our Intro to Social Work class. I never knew where life was going to take me, but now, nearly 15 years later, he is now my boss, Director Armand Perry. We had a good relationship then, and we have an even better relationship now. So just want to stress that to individuals as well. Keep that GPA up above a 2.5. You've seen it multiple times. That's really one of the things that we like to have students stay at so they can be in good standings. And apply to the University of Louisville through the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Once you're admitted, we will kind of get that information. We'll schedule an onboarding meeting with you. You'll meet with our academic advisors, either Anna or Gary, and we'll just kind of discuss your flight plan, what you're interested in, and create a path for you to succeed here at U of L. So that's essentially our info session. So I did pretty well on time, I do think. If you all have additional questions that maybe you're not able to ask after we get off here, if it hits you tomorrow, next week, next month, this is my information. So 502-852-8009, or you can email me at bobby.cortez@louisville.edu. So I'll leave this up for just a few minutes. And then Beatrice, if you would like to go ahead and answer your question.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So if we have prior college credits,
Mhm.
do you guys, is there like a expiration date for when you guys will take it, or how does that work?
There's traditionally not an expiration date. However, what we encourage students to do is when they apply through the Office of Admissions, they will need the transcripts of every institution that you have attended or earned credits at. And what will happen is they will do what's called an STE, so a student transfer evaluation. And what they will do is look at those courses and see if we have an equivalent of that course here that we offer at U of L. So say you took maybe a writing course, okay, an English 104 or something like that. If we have an equivalency to that, then you will get credit titled as, say, English 104. If we do not have an equivalent course related to what you had taken, what will happen is most often you will get credit for that course that you took and you passed. However, that course will not be coded as English 104. It would come in as an elective. So you would still get credit, but it would just go under that elective space.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You are welcome. And then let's see what we got here. Alma, do you have a question for me?
I do. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are
I
you
did
doing?
have a question. I attempted to schedule a meeting for the academic advising. Is that the correct terms?
I believe so. Yeah. So just to meet with your academic advisor, be it
Right.
Gary or
So that
Anna.
one is later on in November. Is there any way I can get a sooner appointment? Because I have to make a decision soon.
So did you email Gary or Anna? Do you remember?
I believe whatever appointment I made, it was through the portal. So
Report. Okay. So you have been admitted to the university,
yes, I have.
and then you declared social work as your major.
Yes.
Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write down Alma, and then Alma, would you be okay with giving me your last name?
Zepeda. Zepeda.
Alma Zepeda. Okay, so I will look um your information up, and then what I will do, what I always say to students is because sometimes you can do advising appointments through the portal, or there's a card smart service. Their students can like look at their advisors' schedules and kind of just put themselves on there. What I always say is reach out to them via email, give them a
Okay.
phone call, and just see what will work, what will squeeze it in. Because most often the advisors know what they're doing. They've seen a lot of students in different circumstances and situations. So most often they'll be able to give you what you would like in a short amount of time. So even if it's maybe a 15, 20-minute phone call, a short Teams message, or meeting on campus or anything like that, most often they will have that time available for you. But what I will do is I will send your name and I'll just email both of them to see who might be your advisor, which off the top of my head, I think it's going to be Gary. So I will send him a message first thing in the morning and see if we might be able to find some time.
Okay.
Um, and then we can kind of go from there. But yeah, I always say to students, like shoot that email out really quick, give them a phone call, see what
Awesome.
can work because yeah, you never know until you reach out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mama. Lauren, Tatiana, Beatrice, just wondering, does anybody have any more questions before we do hop off here? Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do since I already unshared, I'm gonna go ahead and put my email in there. Now, this is different than the Bobby.Cortez, but it's brcourt02. This is another one of my emails. They all go to the same thing. So if you do think of something, please shoot me an email and I'll get right back with you. Tatiana, looks like you do have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a transfer student. I
Mhm.
graduate, I guess December's my last semester at JCTC.
Okay.
But the deadline for transferring, I guess, or for the program is November 1st. Could I still apply to the university if I'm expected to graduate this semester? Because I'm only taking one class and I got an A. Or do I have to
Absolutely.
wait till I graduate to
So,
apply?
absolutely, you can apply to the university. And additionally, if you are expecting to have the right amount of credit hours, or you're expecting to just like take a class to raise a GPA or anything like that, what we do is, so like I said, we have a lot of transfer students who are kind of in these situations. I would encourage you go ahead and apply, go ahead and request that application. And you can email me and then I'll send you the link to be able to request that application. It takes a couple days to get processed and then send out to your email. But again, you need to be admitted to U of L before you can access or request the application. Um,
Okay.
but what we would do is we would admit you based on the conditions that you would then, um, graduate and send those transcripts over. So, for example, if you had 44 credit hours and you were taking one class that was going to get you past the 45 minimum, we would see
Mhm.
that you're in that class. We would admit you conditionally. And then after that course was taken, we would just need you to send an updated transcript to us, just proving that, yes, you passed this class, you have the appropriate amount of credit hours, and then we just move on. On the flip
Okay.
side, you go ahead, Tatiana. Sorry.
Oh no, I just said okay.
Okay, cool. On the flip side, if things didn't go so well and you were admitted, and then forbid that a class wasn't passed or things like that, then we would have to kind of redact that offer for the upper division. But to be honest, that does not happen very often.
Okay. Sounds
Cool.
good. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you're welcome. You are welcome. Lauren, Beatrice, Alma, are we good, y'all?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, sweet. Well, I hope you all do enjoy the rest of your evening. I know Beatrice, you're a little far away, so I think enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm gonna go ahead and get started on some dinner. But everybody have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you all being here. Again, if you have questions that hit you later on, feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. Yeah, with that, everybody have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks.